Hello and welcome to Gospel Gleanings for this Sunday, April the 19th, 2026. My brothers and sisters, on this third Sunday of Easter, we hear from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24, verses 13 through 35. That very day, the first day of the week, two of Jesus' disciples were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus, and they were conversing about all the things that had occurred. And it happened that while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near and walked with them, but their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" They stopped, looking downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, said to him in reply, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know of the things that had taken place there in these days?" And he replied to them, "What sort of things?" They said to him, "The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who is a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people. How our chief priests and rulers both handed him over to a sentence of death and crucified him. But we were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel. And besides all this, it is now the third day since this took place. Some women from our group, however, have astounded us. They were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body. They came back and reported that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who announced that he was alive. Then some of those with us went to the tomb and found things just as the women had described, but him they did not see. And he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are! How slow of heart to believe all that the prophets spoke! Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all the scriptures. As they approached the village to which they were going, he gave the impression that he was going on farther. But they urged him, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. And it happened that while he was with them at table, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them. With that, their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, but he vanished from their sight. Then they said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way, and opened the scriptures to us?" So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found gathered together the 11 and those with them who were saying, "The Lord has truly been raised and has appeared to Simon." Then the two recounted what had taken place on the way, and how he was made known to them in the breaking of the bread. My brothers and sisters, a few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with a friend who was in the process of purchasing a new car. She shared an experience that I think many of us can relate to. As she began thinking about what type of car she wanted, the make and the model, she realized she hadn't noticed many of them on the road. It seemed like they were rare. But then, after she made her decision and began leaning toward a particular model, everything changed. Suddenly, she couldn't go more than a few blocks without seeing that exact car everywhere. You see, my brothers and sisters, it wasn't that everyone suddenly went out and bought that car. Rather, she became more aware. She was looking for it, and because she was looking, she was able to see it. And that happens in our spiritual lives as well. Think for a moment before you come into the church. If I were to ask you how many statues are in the church, how many of us could answer that question? We pass them all the time. Or do we know which saints the statues represent? Every time we dip our hands into the holy water, they're usually nearby. But once we become aware, once we begin to look, we begin to see. I believe this is one of the dynamics at work in today's gospel. The two disciples on the road to Emmaus, they were leaving Jerusalem after everything that had happened, and Jesus himself comes alongside them. He walks with them, he speaks with them, and yet they do not recognize him. Why? Because in some sense, they were not looking for him. They were not expecting him. They weren't expecting him to show up on that road in that moment. We can hear it in their voices. When Jesus asks what they are discussing, they respond, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place?" And then they say, "We were hoping." Do you hear it? The doubt, the disappointment, the loss of hope. They weren't looking for the Lord, and so they missed him. And my friends, how often are we the same way? There was an article about a man playing the violin in a Washington, D.C. metro station, and during a span of 45 minutes, only 6 people stopped to listen. He collected less than $30. What most people didn't realize is that this man was Joshua Bell, one of the greatest violinists in the world. He regularly sells out concert halls with tickets costing hundreds of dollars. Yet there he was, playing one of the most difficult pieces ever written, and thousands of people walk right past him. Why? because they weren't expecting to encounter greatness in a subway station. They weren't looking, so they didn't see. My brothers and sisters, as we continue our journey of faith, especially in this Easter season, we must ask ourselves, are we looking for the Lord? Because we find what we are looking for. When people say to me, I've never seen a miracle, my response is simple. You haven't been looking for one. Miracles happen every single day. Sometimes they are big, sometimes they are small. But if we do not have eyes that see, we will miss them. I once heard about a great presenter who spoke about early missionaries. And in their writings, they would often say that they were bringing Jesus to distant lands. And he would laugh and say, that makes it sound like Jesus is carry-on luggage. The truth is, they weren't bringing Jesus. Jesus was already there. And the same is true in our lives. We don't bring Jesus into our workplaces, our families, or our relationships as if he were absent before. He is already present. Our role is to help others see him. But that becomes very difficult if our own eyes are closed. My brothers and sisters, Christ is present everywhere. We see him at the altar, in the breaking of the bread. We hear him when his word is proclaimed. We encounter him in our relationships. We find him even in the messiness of our lives. He is there. And so, the question is not whether God is present. The question is, are we looking? Because if we truly begin to see him, then we will be able to say, like the disciples, we have seen the Lord, and we will go out and tell others so that they too may see. Ask, and you shall receive. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. Are you looking for Jesus? Because, my friends, he is already looking for you. Thank you, and have a wonderful weekend.